Technology is a hell of a drug. It promises us convenience, connection, and a world of possibilities. But there's a catch. This shiny new tech often comes with a hidden cost: our privacy. We're trading our personal data for faster deliveries and personalized ads. That's a trade-off we need to examine closely, because sometimes, the price of progress is way too high. Think about it. Every click, every swipe, every online interaction leaves a digital trail. It's like we're constantly shedding little bits of ourselves into the digital ether. And you know what? Someone's always there to sweep them up. Tech companies are scooping up this data, analyzing it, and monetizing it. They're building detailed profiles of who we are, what we do, and what makes us tick. Now, some of this data collection might seem harmless, but it's not just about targeted advertising anymore. It's about influencing our behavior, our choices, even our thoughts. And that's where things get really creepy. Imagine a world where your phone listens to your conversations, even when you think it's off, where your smart speaker is recording your every word, every argument, every private moment. That's not science fiction, folks. That's the reality we're sleepwalking into. We've all heard the stories. Our phones are eavesdropping on us, feeding us ads based on our conversations. Our webcams are hijacked, spying on our most intimate moments. And these are just the incidents we know about. The tip of the iceberg, really. The truth is, the line between convenience and surveillance is getting blurrier by the day. We're willingly inviting these devices into our homes, our bedrooms, our lives. We're handing over our personal information without a second thought. And why? Because we're told it's for our convenience, for our safety, for a better user experience. But at what cost? Remember that creepy prison design where the guards could see into every cell but the prisoners couldn't see them? The Panopticon? Yeah, that's starting to feel less like a historical curiosity and more like a blueprint for the future. We're living in a world of constant surveillance, both physical and digital. Facial recognition software tracks our movements in public spaces. Our online activity is monitored, analyzed, and used to predict our behavior. And it's not just governments doing the watching anymore. Private companies are collecting massive amounts of data on us, and they're not always shy about sharing it. With law enforcement, with advertisers, with whoever's willing to pay. It's a surveillance state on steroids, and it's time we started asking some tough questions. Now let's talk about the bad guys, the ones who see all this data, all this personal information, as a goldmine just waiting to be exploited. We're talking about identity thieves, scammers, hackers, and even governments with less than noble intentions. They're using our data to steal our identities, drain our bank accounts, and manipulate us in ways we can't even imagine. They're using it to spread misinformation, sow discord, and undermine our democracies. This isn't some dystopian fantasy, folks. This is happening right now. And the worst part, we're making it way too easy for them. We're practically handing them the keys to the kingdom with our weak passwords, our oversharing on social media, and our blind trust in any app that promises us free stuff. Section 5. The law's long catch-up. So, where the hell is the law in all of this? Well, it's trying to catch up, but let's be honest, it's like a tortoise in a Formula One race. The technology is moving at warp speed, and the law is stuck in first gear. We need laws that protect our digital privacy, plain and simple. Laws that give us control over our data, that hold companies accountable for breaches, and that prevent governments from turning our digital lives into open books. But here's the thing about laws, they're only as good as the people who enforce them. And right now, the enforcers are outmatched, outgunned, and frankly, out of their depth. They're playing catch-up with technologies they barely understand, trying to hold corporations accountable with one hand tied behind their backs. It's time to give them the resources, the authority, and the political will to do their jobs. Because if we don't start taking digital privacy seriously, we're all going to pay the price. Section 6, between security and freedom. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. John, I've got nothing to hide. I'm a law-abiding citizen. Why should I care about privacy? Here's why. Because privacy is the cornerstone of a free society. It's about the right to think, to speak, and to live our lives without fear of constant surveillance and judgment. It's about the freedom to make mistakes, to explore different ideas, and to dissent without worrying about ending up on some government watch list. Sure, there are legitimate reasons for surveillance. We want to catch criminals. We want to prevent terrorism. But when surveillance becomes the norm, when it's used to monitor our every move, it creates a chilling effect on free speech, on dissent, on the very things that make a democracy strong. We need to find a balance between security and freedom, between convenience and privacy. It's not an easy balance to strike, but it's a balance we have to find if we want to preserve the freedoms we hold dear. Section 7. A world without walls. Imagine a world where your every move is tracked, where your every purchase is recorded, where your every online interaction is analyzed, where algorithms determine your credit score, your insurance rates, even your job prospects. That's the world we're creating if we don't start demanding digital privacy. It's a world without walls, without secrets, without any sense of personal space. It's a world where we're constantly being watched, judged, and manipulated. And frankly, it's a world that scares the hell out of me. We need to wake up and realize that privacy is not a luxury. It's not something we can afford to give up in the name of convenience or security. It's the foundation of a free and open society, and it's worth fighting for. Section 8. Fighting for the digital future. So what can we do about it? First of all, we need to get informed. We need to understand how our data is being collected, how it's being used, and who's profiting from it. We need to demand better privacy laws, laws that give us control over our data and hold companies accountable for breaches. We need to support organizations that are fighting for our digital rights, organizations like the Electronic Frontier Foundation and the American Civil Liberties Union, and we need to vote. Vote for politicians who understand the importance of digital privacy and who are willing to stand up to the powerful corporations that are trying to erode our freedoms. Section 9. Reclaiming our digital selves. This isn't just about technology, folks. This is about our fundamental rights. Our right to privacy, our right to free speech, our right to live our lives without being constantly watched and manipulated. We need to stop thinking of privacy as something we've lost and start thinking of it as something we can reclaim. We need to demand better from our tech companies, from our governments, and from ourselves. The future of our digital lives is at stake, and it's up to us to decide what kind of future we want to create.